Welcome to the Love, Sex and Freedom podcast. This is where you're going to discover how to bring awakening into the body and into everyday life through powerful tantric teachings. Get ready to release, open and step into your true power. So, living Tantra is a path of devotion. And what is it that we are devoted to? Devoted to the remembering that separation is an illusion. When we get to the third eye, the pineal gland, we enter spaces of subtlety, of imagination, spaces beyond identity. And when we're in that space, when we're in this spaciousness, then the mystery unfolds without us needing to control it. But how do we actually get to that place of surrender? How do we get to that place of connecting with a more subtle state of reality where the tantric principle that we are one with divine, we are one with consciousness, is actually a reality that we live. And that when we slip into resistance and we slip into contraction and we slip into story and the mind stressing and worrying, that we have pathways to remember through practices. And a lot of traditions have one practice, one central practice that they utilize. And then Tantra has a lot of different practices. And when I'm talking about sadhana, daily practice, when I'm talking about devotion to a practice that takes us beyond self, I'm not talking about the practices like inner union dialogue or connecting with our inner child or processing the many layers of emotion and mentalization, and all of that is important. And there is the practice or the sadhana that is centered around a more transcendent, transpersonal state. And it takes time to get to that. And mantra and yantra meditation and deity worship and hollow flute breathing and even that practice of breathing with space this morning, or like there's so many meditations in the Vigyambara Tantra, which is the scripture that comes from Kashmir Shaivism, the Hindu body of channel divine meditations. It's Shiva speaking to Parvati about the atonement, the at-one-ment with consciousness. And so I've said this before and I'll reiterate it. The 112 meditations are a combination of these focused practices which support us to see reality beyond the illusion that the physical is our identity, that this body, this mind is who we are. And if you just meditate for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, every now and then, or if you're doing breathwork practice or whatever you're doing, it's not really enough to come to know that space. So the 112 meditations are basically all pointing us to different focus points that take us out of the monkey mind and into a de-armored state of being one with all that is. And so when we sing a mantra, we are so focused on that mantra. And if you break up the word mantra, manas and tra, instrument of the mind, an instrument of the mind to transcend separation. And lovemaking is a meditation when we bring awareness to it. And there's a slower pace to the merging of duality, to going into duality, to go beyond duality. And that's what all the practices in Vigyambhara Tantra are supporting us to experience. We gaze upon something in nature, sacred geometry, a yantra, a deity, the beloved's eyes, in recognizing that is us, it is the source from which we came, and all of consciousness is universal consciousness is here and available. One of the meditations I really like is when you imagine that your head is the sky. Let's just do that for a moment. Close the eyes and imagine that your head is the sky. So spacious that it can hold anything. So just feeling that your head is the sky. And then maybe breathing up and down the central channel, breathing up from the earth into the heavens, down from the heavens into the earth, Kundalini rising and descending. Feeling the space at the front of your body, breathing that in and breathing out into that space. Feeling the space behind your body, breathing that in, breathing out into that space. Below, above. Just feeling all of these subtle ways to come into contact with what is beyond identity. We go into the duality of awareness and breath to go beyond duality. We go into the duality of us and a deity or a mantra or a yantra to go beyond duality. So we're utilizing the senses going into the duality of macrocosmic orbit or transfiguration, where we're meeting the beloved in the space of meditative awareness and energy and movement and sound, to go beyond duality. That's the devotional practice of Tantra, to go into duality so fully that everything dissolves into one. What does it mean to offer a gift to the world without ego? It means that we are in a state of atonement, at one with consciousness, so that spirit can flow through us. That our heart is clean of stories. We are not waiting for the response or the reaction of our audience to give us permission to be who we are. We are in a state of surrender. What would your life be like if, rather than thoughts and the mind defining who you are, actually you embodied openness, that there was an open state to what's here? That you're so devoted to the practice of remembering that you know there's a inherent knowing that you are divine and that all is divine. And that what arises here in this present moment is also divine. And can you let that feel good? Can your sadhana, your spiritual practice, feel good? Can you do it for the love of it? Not for the selfish gain of clearing anything, achieving anything, doing anything, but rather to remember who you really are beyond all the stories of separation. To feel the bliss of that remembering, to experience divine as bliss. So today we're going to be exploring different things to focus on, to support us to focus beyond the mind, beyond all the stories, and feel that atonement, that at-one-ment. And we're going to play a mantra. It's going to go for about 20 minutes and we're all going to sing it together. And I want you to feel it in your body, to become the mantra, to actually feel its vibrational frequency. And my sadhana every day changes, but whatever it is a devotion to remembering. And this devotion to remembering takes me into a high frequency so that I can live as love, so that I can download a lot of what you receive leading up to retreats, so that visions and inspirations come through me, not from the mind, but from spirit, and spirit can flow through me. So if anything comes through, sometimes I find it very difficult to remember what comes through in meditation. So straight after, we're going to be in silence for a bit, and then I'm going to invite 5 minutes just to write some things down. And if you don't have a pen and paper, you can either borrow one off someone or go to your room, but we're going to stay in silence. So this is an experience of focusing your attention of something beyond the mind and experiencing the duality of the listener and the singer, to go beyond duality and feel a state of divinity as who you are. Keep the eyes closed. Come into a comfortable position. If the mind is monkeying, bring your attention back to the breath. And you're hearing the words of the mantra enough time that you'll come to know it. But it's Ek Onkar. Just repeat after me. Ek Onkar. Satguru Prasad. Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar. Satguru Prasad. Ek Onkar. And all together now. Ek Onkar, Satguru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar, Satguru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar, Satguru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Thanks for listening to the Love, Sex and Freedom podcast. For more great free resources, in-person and online workshops, and our retreats, find us on Instagram and Facebook at Embodied Awakening Academy or visit embodiedawakeningacademy.com.